getting ready to pull the gas tank off of this Sportster. We're going to drain the fuel, and then we are going to work on this front cylinder right here. We have an oil leak on the other side. Right, it's leaking right there, that gasket, and then it's leaking on the gaskets on the inside of the rocker box. So we're going to take all that off. And here's our gasket set. Genuine James gaskets. So we're going to put this on here and we're going to fix this oil leak. So this bike is good to go. So let's go ahead and get that tank off. Alright, so we went ahead and got the gas tank off in the seat. We got the breather off, and while we're doing this front cylinder, we're also going to do the carburetor, and we're going to pull that rocker panel cover off. And while we got everything off, we're going to use the buffer and give everything a good mirror shine on it before we jump down there and do the same thing down there. But this is where we are. So next we still got to put it in 5th gear and find top dead center. I didn't do that yet. I probably should have done that by pulling the spark plug out and using a zip tie, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and continue with what we're doing. We got the exhaust off, the shifter rod or the brake rod, and the exhaust that goes to this one. Now we haven't pulled that one off. This one here, we got the cover off to the rocker box. This gasket is somewhat ate up, but it's not leaking right here, but we got the gaskets to go ahead and replace it. So we're going to go ahead and take out the other bolts, and we're going to take off this top part. There's 3 bolts holding it on, but then we'll lift it off. Alright, so here we are. We got the head off the rocker box. The head gasket has been the culprit on leaking. As you can see, there's oil all over it. So we need to replace that head gasket and everything else in here. And we're going to replace every gasket from here up. And that should fix our oil leak. Now, anytime you're doing anything like this, lay everything out just how it came out. That way it'll help you put it back together, and make sure you label with tape if you have to, Ziploc bags, whatever you have to do. But this is how I've got it laid out. This is the head right here, and this was the gasket, one of them that was leaking. This thing is shot, so we got a new one we're going to put on it. But first we're going to clean everything up, clean the heads up, and then we'll start the reassembly process on this. It's a lot of work, but we're going to get it done, get it all put back together, and cross our fingers, hopefully it will fire up. Alright, so we got the cylinder completely off, which is the bottom, the cylinder right there. We need to clean up around the bottom of it. The top of that piston looks really bad. I'm not going to clean it just yet because I don't want it to fall down into the bottom. Actually, I am going to go ahead and clean it. I'm going to lay a clean rag across the top of it. I've got my vacuum, and I'm going to clean that piston up a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy on it, but we are going to get it cleaner than what it is. And the rings still look good, so I'm going to try to reuse those. And once we get everything clean, then we're going to try to put it all back together. I appreciate everyone going along with me on this journey. It's been fun. I've never done a motorcycle. I've done plenty of cars and trucks. Pretty much the same concept. So this is a learning curve for me. We're going to cross our fingers and hope that the bike starts. The inside of the cylinder wall actually looks good. We are going to hone that out before we put it back on. Clean up everything real good, and then start putting it back together. Good morning, YouTube. It is day 2. Worked till about 11:30 the night before last night because it was Christmas Eve. Took Christmas off and spent it with family, but today we are finishing working on the Harley Sportster 1200 Custom this is some of the stuff that we've got left to do. I did manage to get the cylinder back on and the head back on, the gaskets replaced. You saw how dirty that piston was. We got that cleaned up, looking good. I don't know what happened to the footage to it. I thought I hit the record button while I was doing it. Apparently I didn't. But we're going to go ahead and get it all put back together, and let's go take a look at it and I'll show you where I am. So we got the rocker box and the cover to put back on yet. We still got to clean the carburetor, probably rebuild it. I got the kit for that to put back on. This is the gasket that's going on here. We'll go ahead and set that to the side right now. Here's the push rods. Make sure they're seated right. We got to put this front engine brace back on real fast before we put the rocker box on. From there we'll put the rocker box back on, where we installed the ignition switch and coil pack that goes right up here. It actually right in that area. And then we can hook the spark plug back up, and then once we get done with that, we'll get the carburetor on that goes right here. Let me show you the carburetor, because the carburetor is it's really bad. Here's the carburetor. If you guys can see in there, it's just as black as it can be. This side's pretty clean, but the intake side, that's not good. So we're gonna have to clean all that. We'll pull it apart, clean the jets and all that good stuff, check the float, and just take a better look at it. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild it and then put it back on. And of course there's the fuel tank. I've got one exhaust off right here. So hit that like, share, subscribe button. Excuse me, take two. So hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we'll go ahead and finish with this build. We'll get it put back together. We'll cross our fingers. I always cross my fingers and hope it starts afterwards, because I'm not a trained professional at this. So let's see what happens. Let's get this bike put back together. Alright, so we got this front mounting bracket for the engine put on. There's two bolts here at the top. There's one bolt here, and then the other side is just a nut. The stud is actually built into the head of the cylinder. So we got this put in, so now it's time to put our gaskets on, and then our rocker box assembly. We'll put it on here and get that on, and we'll be one step closer to having this done. We got the cylinder all put back together. We got the intake on it. We got the ignition coil. We got the switch put back up there. So everything's going along good. We got the exhaust put back on. Now it still needs one heck of a cleaning, but we'll do that once we get it all together and fired back up. I don't want to do a super cleaning on it if we have to pull it back apart for some weird reason. So let's keep going, and the next step is we've got to clean the carburetor and get that put on. Alright, so we got everything back on the bike for the most part. I still got to put one more bolt back here. Alright, so we got the bike put back together for the most part completely, and what we're going to do is go ahead and see if it'll fire up. I've got to finish tightening the tank bolt here. I got to put the bolt in back here and some odd and end stuff, and put the brake lever back on. But for now, we're just going to see if it'll start. Hopefully I won't have to pull anything apart. Yeah, fingers crossed. I do know that I'm gonna have to adjust the idle screw. The idle on this is off. I haven't even tried it, and I know that because I messed with it and then I didn't put it back exactly where it was. So I'm gonna have to readjust that. But other than that, I think she'll start. So let's try it. Fuel's on. We'll choke it a little bit. Alright, so we got the bike back together. It's running really good. I just took it for a test drive and we just washed it off. We're going to finish detailing it. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Stronger by the Mile, and I will see you guys on the next episode. I have no idea what we're doing just yet, but I hope you guys hit that subscribe button and follow along with me. Until then, I'll see you next time.